We'll call the meeting to order for today, which you believe is March, April 5th. Time's going by way too quick. Now we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Don't you have to bring up the flag?
Oh, sorry, I pledge allegiance.
No, we're not in a meeting.
Are we ready? I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yeah, we're not on Zoom.
Yeah. Sorry.
All right, everybody read the payroll manifest?
Yep.
Yeah, we're
Any
good.
questions on it?
Making a motion to approve the accounts payable manifest of 4/5/2021 and the payroll manifest of 4/6/2021.
I'll second that.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, aye.
I didn't have any,
On the minutes?
yeah, I didn't have anything significant to
I didn't either.
submit, so. You good on the minutes? All right, well, I'll make a motion to approve the meeting minutes from March 22nd, 2021, the public minutes.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, aye. 4-0.
Non-public.
Hmm?
There's also non-public.
Oh,
Oh,
I'm gonna put in a motion on it.
there, yeah. I don't think
I think they came to us via mail.
Yeah.
yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't think I had anything of, I mean, those were pretty straightforward.
yeah, it wasn't that much.
All right, I'll make a motion that the select board approve the non-public minutes from March 22nd, 2021, as written.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. So we're all done with the minutes. Reports from boards. Planning?
Planning Board, 3/24/2021. We had a case 21-004-SUV Howells Ridge subdivision. Two single-family homes, map 52. Separating their lot into two separate lots. Application accepted by the entire planning board. I had to ask Chris a question, potential basement easement if required by planning board. Well, they're gonna ask you about it, sorry.
Yeah, Dirk wrote to me on that, and we're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then we continued case 21-004, that's SUV, and we continued it till 4/14/2021. Case 21-001-LLA, application for lot line adjustment to existing common boundary line between map 58, lot 6, sublot A, and lot 6, sublot 1. Property 67 and 70 Ledge Farm Road, map 58, lot 6, sublot A, and lot 6, sublot 1. Application accepted unanimously, 28 acres from one lot to the other. In case 20-009 sub SUB, application from Maryland and Jeff Cole, subdivide 31.18 acres to 6 lots. After they were out there, they had a few pine trees that needed to be cut in a no-cut zone. New Hampshire Forestry recommends it as well, and conditional approval. More to come. And then again, we had case 21-003 SIT from from Tammy DeFrancisco and trustees of the Kubota Trust, requesting approval for watercross event to be held 3 times a year, starting in 2021. Public comments we had, and board will seek town council and continue this case as well on 4/14.
Was that 2 times a year or 3?
3,
3?
and that's it.
Since you're going, is there anything for the 300?
300, yeah, we didn't have anything on the 300 this, since the last meeting, but we just followed up. Chris, they've got it up. I think it's all set for, if they get the advertisement, it will be taken care of.
There's nothing on budget, CIP.
Done for the season.
Yeah, exactly. Marston's?
Yeah, nothing new. Committee's still moving along, pursuing opportunities. Our next meeting is tomorrow night. So, and I do know that there's been some really good success with giving the option for people to donate additional dollars when they're registering their kids for spring sports. So that's been a great vehicle for us. All good.
Are we gonna talk some tonight, the naming of the field?
If you want to.
Well,
Or do you wanna wait to,
in
doesn't matter to me.
fairness, I think we should wait till Ben.
Okay, that's fine. Fine.
Yeah. I mean, I did do the homework and determined that the generals were part of a militia, not Minutemen. And we all saw the email from the Historical Society.
Yeah.
So,
No, those are all good points.
yep, exactly.
You could also name it Little River Field because it runs a little river right beside it. But again, there's another, something
Yeah.
else.
Yep.
So, okay, we'll table
That's
that.
not
Somebody
bad.
else?
That's not bad, John.
Lee has a Little River Park, so
Yeah.
you might not.
Might create some E911
There you go.
hassles. What was that?
There's progress on getting power out there too.
Okay.
So that work is going on behind the scenes, but,
Nice.
power for well and pump and whatnot.
Good to know. Chris, your town administrator's report.
I think you got most everything current from me at the end of last week, well, welcome back. The building is starting to come back to life. You may have noticed, martial arts, is back starting tonight. Pickleball starts up again tomorrow. There's a group coming, one of the political parties, I think, is in at the end of the week for a meeting, so it's coming back. Slowly but surely. Tomorrow is the deadline to register to vote for the deliberative session on the 17th. There's information on the website about that. The New Hampshire DOT tells us they're gonna resurface all of 156 this summer. They did a lot on 152 last summer, and without any huge impacts, but it's coming.
Yep.
Actually,
You say they're gonna pave it, Chris?
Yeah.
there was a big impact. Before they did that end of 152, they scraped the side of the road
Oh, yeah, yeah.
and they dragged that Japanese
Oh, the
knotweed up
knotweed?
and down
That's
the
right.
highway for miles, and now it's everywhere. And then remember, we got hate mail from them a few weeks later saying we weren't doing enough to control it. So maybe we should
Yeah,
consider
I'll
having
poke
a word
about
with them.
that, yeah.
Don't be dragging no knotweed around before you.
That's good, Tony.
Yeah, I'll poke them on that. Yes, Sean's, Public Works has been talking with, Conservation about knotweed too. They're
Good.
trying to find their way to a solution with our with our brush clearing operations, doing it at the right time. Perhaps doing some treatment this year. We just skipped over it last year. We just avoided it.
Yeah.
He's looking to try and do some treatment. He's been, talking with Conservation about that, so.
If they hit it earlier, when it's just like, those first couple of leaves coming out of the ground and it's only this tall, takes a lot less
Yeah.
treatment solution than when it's 8 feet tall, right? So,
Yeah.
something to consider, weather permitting.
What else? I also wrote to you, we talked, and I think it's on your list of things for follow-up on the agenda, is the sale of other parcels, not the Route 4 parcels that we've been talking about, but The one on Freeman Hall, that we've tried to sell before, and then I mentioned a couple others. One being on Smoke Street, and and two more on Route 4, closer to Mendham's Landing. And what I had, I'd suggested that we go forward with the listing on the Freeman Hall parcel, and that you not sell the ones on Route 4 yet. There's not a lot of recovery to be had for us, and I think you probably want to think about, at least have a conversation about conserving those two parcels, because they're surrounded by other conservation parcels. I don't think you want to rush into selling them, given those two things. And the access is going to be a little tricky, so I think it's probably best not to rush into selling those right now. You may not get the full value, and we're not going to recover much of that value anyway. So that was my suggestion on that one. And then the Smoke Street parcel, really the question for you is what we've done with some tax deeded parcels in the past is offer them by way of sealed bid, sometimes with the condition that they be merged with adjoining parcels. This is a big piece. It's probably viable as a standalone house lot, but since we haven't talked about it before, I just wanted to throw it out to you as the possibility that you might want to not list it publicly if you want to try and reduce the sprawl of units. But I think it's a viable house lot as far as we can tell. So the options are list it with a broker, as we were going to do with the Freeman Hall parcel, or to do something else with it. That a clear explanation of that situation.
Yep.
Yep.
The way to maximize the value to us is certainly to list it. That's the way to get the most for it, certainly. But if you want to do something else with it, we should talk about that.
Do we know if both of these lots here we're talking about have clean titles?
Any tax deeded parcel is really kind of a dirty title. Some lenders won't touch them. Other lenders are, make people jump through hoops. That's what we've seen. So I think it's probably likely to be a cash buyer.
Okay.
Doesn't have to be, but that's one. My understanding of the last time we came under agreement on the Freeman Hall parcel, you had accepted a sealed bid as a sale. Those bidders backed out because of trouble with the title and a lender. That was the story that we heard. So not surprising, but that we could run into that again, and that's something you'll need to consider when you get offers.
So what you're recommending here is that we go forward with the Freeman Hall one with a Realtor, but not the other two?
The Smoke Street one, I don't have a recommendation for you. It's just a what's your preference situation. You may have an abutter there that's interested in making a good sized parcel even larger.
Yeah.
Which would slow down any possible development.
Yep.
At probably a lower net value to you. We're gonna capture all the sale price of that parcel is gonna go to our pocket. So, if you want to get the most for it, then we should list it. If you want to not see it developed, then you should probably consider a different sale.
Has the abutter expressed interest in it?
Well, I've talked with one abutter that I think might be interested. Yeah, but we haven't talked price, so that
Yeah.
You're talking Route 4 right now, right?
No, I'm sorry, I'm on Smoke Street.
Right, okay, that's right. I guess
Sorry, we're jumping around.
No, I think we should list both of them. The market's hot, things are selling. Might as well maximize it.
It wouldn't preclude an abutter from making an offer, certainly.
Right,
It's just an
Yeah.
open market deal, so.
Yeah,
I'm
I say
fine.
list them both.
Okay.
That's fine.
All right, and then the last piece on that is if you have any, we're gonna send an RFP, a simple, hey, are you interested in being the broker for this? to a list of folks that have been recommended to us, just, soliciting names, and then, maybe look in the yellow pages or whatever. But if you have anybody that you'd like us to invite to be considered as a broker, please let me know within the next couple of days.
Okay.
And I don't know if that calendar will hold, but we'll move forward on that relatively quickly. There's nothing left to do on it, so. And I think that's all I got for you.
Well, since that took care of a lot of the action items,
Yeah, sorry.
Marston's, properties to sell, you guys want to just postpone the updating of the recycling fees or for a future meeting, or?
Yeah, I think we intended that to be a longer term
Okay, perfect.
piece.
Next, we're gonna move on to the assessing. We had a couple different things. Where'd they go?
All right, well, to start, I'll make a motion that the select board approve the intent to cut or excavate for map 69, lot 10, map 10, lot 12, and the report of cut or excavation for map 53, lot 6-2, and map 40, lot 8.
We have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Next one's is the abatements. Oops. Anybody have any questions on those after you read them? I agreed with,
Yep, I did too.
Jonathan said.
Yep.
You ready for a motion then? Tony, you wanna check it out?
Yeah, I was just looking for the document to refresh my memory, but I didn't have any issues with it when I read it, with the recommendations, so.
Neither did I. Both were on Ledge Farm, so.
Okay, so I'll
Seeing
make
nothing? A motion?
a motion to accept the abatement on map 57, lot 2B, abatement, and map 58, lot 6-2 abatement.
Can we separate them?
Oh, okay. 57, map 57, lot 2-B abatement,
As per Jonathan.
as per Mr. Jonathan, excuse me.
Good avatar, sure. We got a motion?
A second.
A motion and a second. All in favor?
I
Unanimous. Next?
Make a motion to accept the abatement for lot 58, 6-2, again, from Jonathan.
Wait,
Didn't he recommend an outright denial on one of
yeah,
those?
I thought we just did, I'm sorry, maybe I got confused. I thought the one we just did was 57.
Yeah, the one we just did was 57.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, so this one
Is
is.
that true, Lorraine? Did you have 57?
I have 57 lot 2B.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
this one we're about to discuss is 58 lot 6-2.
Yeah,
Right.
which the recommendation from Jonathan is to deny.
Okay.
Right.
Yep, you're right, yeah. All right, so I'll take that back. So,
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we deny the abatement request for map 58, lot 6-2.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. I saw the things you said about the state legislation.
Jeez, Chris.
Do we want to talk about that?
It's all insane.
Do you want to do Bonnie
Yeah,
first
Bonnie,
and then,
oh, we
and
have
then loop
those
around to
one.
that? Or,
Yeah, we can do it that way, because she's gonna be town meeting prep is basically,
yeah, they're both the same, yeah.
And it's just you, Bonnie?
Yep.
Come in and see Bonnie.
Double moderator.
So we'll move on to our section B of our agenda for the town meeting prep and the meeting with Bonnie, about the moderator for these upcoming sessions of deliberation. So where do you want to start off with this? How's the planning going?
Well, most of the planning's been done. It's the warrant, the big planning. And Chris and people from the school and myself have met a couple times about the physical plant and how we're going to accommodate those who don't wear masks and those who do wear masks and try to keep everybody safe. So that's a little complicated, but
Well, are we gonna
Guys.
require everybody to wear a mask?
we cannot, because there's voting involved. We must accommodate those who refuse, so we are going to be putting them in the cafeteria and somehow running them through the check-in separately. We only have one checklist, so it'll be a little tricky, but I don't expect there'll be a lot of people who refuse to wear a mask. If you recall last year, they were in the same room together, but we're not doing that this year. It's not really recommended. I mean, it's not CDC guidelines. So we will need extra staff for traffic control in that line of people checking in, because people can come at any point in the meeting. You know, they don't necessarily all show up in the beginning. And for, there'll have to be a moderator in that room, maybe 2 to count votes. It will depend on how many people are in there, and we have no way of predicting that. I think are we gonna have something outside, Chris?
We're gonna, well, the audio will be available outside, like we did last time. Stuck a speaker out there so that people who wanna sit outside, they can do that and then come in, if
Right,
they
so-
wanna vote or speak or anything,
Yeah.
you know, they have to come into the building, but they can sit outside and listen. No video, just audio.
Yep. So the school has a mask mandate, the selectmen have a mask mandate, and I have a mask mandate. However, if the journal says we must still accommodate people who won't or can't wear a mask, there are some people who medically can't. So we are planning to do that. And it's a little tricky about who's going to work, because we don't know when the second session starts, but I'm not going to ask people to work the whole day. It's the most dangerous, I'm talking about the virus now, it's the most dangerous kind of setting compared to an election where people are actually just voting. They're in this room a lot longer, so I'm offering election workers to do one or the other, or both if they wish. The officers will have to be there for the whole day, because we have the 2 meetings back to back.
So when you say the officers, does that include the members of the school board?
Yes, they're definitely, no, they're not there all day. It's election officers, not even you guys. You are both election officers, but the people that have to be there all day are me, the supervisors of the checklist, and even the clerks are different. So really, it's the supervisors of the checklist, myself, and anybody who's working on our crew that day who doesn't mind doing a double session. Which I don't know yet. I've just polled a bunch of people a couple days ago, and I gave them till tonight to answer. So hopefully we'll get enough staff. We need quite a bit more than a normal deliberative or meeting because of the virus. So we'll need people, I'm going to have people who are timekeepers, because remember we discussed having time limits on. I wanted to go over those again with you tonight. How long people should be able to speak, just to make sure we're all in agreement. I think we were thinking 5 minutes for presentations, or 10. I mean, you have the warrant, probably the budget committee will be doing part of it. Chris will be explaining a lot of it, and some of you will be, yes? I mean, do you have assigned articles yet?
We have not done that yet.
No.
like who's going to present it, who's going to do the second. Usually you used to give me those at this meeting, but I don't really care, you can give them to me that morning.
Okay.
Kelly can put it in with my packet. So I know who's, making the motion and who's seconding. Usually the person who makes the motion, I think you usually have that person address.
Yeah, I mean, none of ours there's nothing that isn't going to involve a presentation on any of the warrant
Okay.
articles other than the budget, right? Refresh my memory.
So they're all pretty straightforward. And you think 5 minutes it's not enough for the big budget, right?
No.
So that one can be whatever it takes. But excuse me, as far as the debate goes, I think we agreed to a 3-minute time limit for people to respond and for all persons who haven't spoken, speak before anybody speaks twice, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
The idea is to move it along. Usually I'm really lenient with the people. I mean, it's their meeting, but it's really medically wise for us to keep everybody focused if possible and get it done as quickly as possible.
You're still gonna like rein in the repetition.
The repetition,
when it gets to that
I will
point.
speak to that probably whenever it becomes necessary, that they not repeat what other people have said. I've already been asked if people who are not registered voters can speak, and I said, probably not.
Wait, is it,
Why would we let people that aren't registered voters speak?
well, it's like when Gunner has asked for permission to speak.
So you're not allowed to speak unless the meeting gives you permission. The moderator can give you permission, or the body can give you permission. So somebody could get up there and ask that, and that could happen. But I'm not going to flat out give anybody permission because of the conditions we're operating under.
But if somebody gets up and requests,
Then there has to be a motion,
okay.
and the body has to agree.
But that's the way it's always been handled anyway, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the point is, the discussion I had with this person was, I think, somebody representing the road article that's on the warrant, that's a citizen petition. And I said, there are plenty of people who live down there who are registered voters. We don't want redundancy anyway, so unless they have something really important to contribute
Oh, I see.
to the discussion, then I would let them. But if it's just what everybody else is saying.
Got it.
She totally got it. So we
Got it.
had a long chat with her today. Because also, this is new to the town. It's really not a lot different than town meeting in many ways. In a few ways it is, like, you don't vote on the articles. You don't
We
vote.
gotta see what turnout we even have too.
Pardon?
We gotta know we don't even know what we're gonna have for a turnout yet.
No, we don't. We never do, though.
I know.
It's impossible to predict since it's our first deliberative. I would say the school, in my experience, does not get large crowds unless they want to do an addition or build a school, then we get large crowds. Well, we have in the past. And there's nothing really controversial in the town except the road thing is pretty controversial and there are a lot of people involved, so it would not surprise me if we had a large turnout.
Bonnie, so we're not voting on articles in a deliberative session, but what kinds of changes can be made?
The same kinds of changes that could be made in a town meeting.
Okay,
Amendments to motions.
okay. Same changes, it's just you're voting on the change, not voting on,
The article, correct.
got it.
So we always vote on changes at town meeting, we always did.
Yep,
And then we would vote on the article after
yep,
amendments were approved or disapproved. So we do that approval and disapproval, and of course, there are some articles that aren't allowed to be amended. Not too many, but, some of the. but
is it a
very
dollar amount only, or is it language as well?
Now it's language. Like if there was a bond issue, right, Chris? They can't amend certain things. Most of them they can amend, though. They can amend the budget.
And is there the 10% cap on the budget, is that still the same?
Yes.
Yeah, it's you can't change what's the exact word? No, the subject of the warrant article can't change.
Can't change that either.
You can be pretty creative and gut an article and,
Sure.
either by zeroing out a dollar or changing enough words that you nullify the effect.
Yep, yep.
but you can't change the subject matter.
Okay,
You can't change a school bus to a
sure,
rec field or,
yep, yep, got it.
Do you have to address every article? Or is it only those that the body wants to take up and discuss?
it is my understanding that we have to address all of them.
Okay.
That's a good question for Mike. Is he gonna be our attorney?
Sue Lowry's gonna be there.
Okay, that's a
Who you
good
know.
question for Sue. But I'm pretty sure we do
Okay.
have to take up every article that's required. But they can be, they can be tabled, I believe. But they have to be brought up in front of the meeting, acted on in some way.
Well, do they need an active blessing of the body to find their way to the ballot, or do they?
No.
No, okay.
The
Well,
school
we don't have to
district used
find our way
vote
through,
on
but let's
putting
make
them
sure
on.
we're all on the same page about that before we get to the
Yeah, well,
meeting.
it's a good question for Sue, maybe the three of us can have a chat.
Because that's a good way to shorten the meeting if,
Yes, and.
if nobody wants to talk about putting $3,000 in some account,
When I was
and if we don't need to, I don't know, but,
When I was first school moderator, that we used to vote on putting them on the ballot.
mhm.
And then, maybe the second or third year I was doing it, it was tradition, I mean, it had been done that way. The school attorney said, no need to do that, they automatically go to the ballot. After they're discussed, amended if they are amended, and they're just moved. So,
Yeah, but to your point, Chris, it's like, if nobody really wants to talk about the ambulance operations, because we know it's the same thing that goes forward every year, right? Yeah,
right, there's no requirement that any specific kinds of discussion about the fee. It's opportunity for the body that's there, the public, to comment, ask questions, or,
is there a vote? So you're not voting whether it goes to the ballot, but it does, for each one, does there have to be a vote that says it goes forward on the ballot as is? There's no vote, it's just an end of discussion. Okay,
Correct.
got it.
it's only there to be discussed, debated, information to be given to the citizens,
Yep,
and amended if it is amended, doesn't have to be amended. And then it moves to the
got it, okay.
ballot, excuse
Yep,
me,
yep,
automatically.
okay.
Other. I've covered most of the things that I wanted to, just underscore with you that we're all on the same page about masks. That we'll have an attorney there, that we're gonna need a bit of extra staff, and we're gonna time people this year. And who is going to do it from your perspective, but I understand you haven't decided that yet, and that's okay. Do you have any questions of me?
I think it's gonna go smoothly.
Yeah,
But, I mean, there's no reason why it shouldn't.
Well,
Most of our meetings in my tenure as moderator have gone smoothly. It has nothing to do with me. Just we have a great town.
anybody have any more questions for Bonnie or anything that we should be addressing?
all good.
You're all good?
All
Yep.
good?
Okay.
Thank you, Bonnie. We will try to get those, who's gonna speak what to you as soon as we can.
Yeah, that's okay.
All right?
Kelly always gets a packet together for
All
me.
right, so we'll get it done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
School Planning Committee.
Say hi to,
We
Bonnie,
we thought it was.
say hi to Patrick.
Oh, excuse me, can I ask you one question for Patrick? I almost forgot. It's a request from Patrick, informal. You don't have to decide tonight. He requests that you go back to Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, or Monday, Wednesday, Saturday dump. How can you go to the dump Thursday and Friday and Saturday, and then you have all those days you don't dump over? Patrick is very fond of the dump. It's not practical the way you have it set up.
What do you want us to do, Bonnie?
Duly noted, Bonnie.
Thursday, Saturdays. Which is what most towns do, by the way.
Tuesday, Thursday,
Lee
Saturday.
does.
Problem is just staffing issues. If you have the way we do it now, you allow those other people to do another job on those Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. And that gives them more opportunity. If you took that away, that might be a thing. So we probably have to ask the staff what they think, because if they're working a second job, it's tough to find people to work. So, I know, but something to think about.
We're looking for help if Patrick wants a job.
Yeah, if he's gonna be there, why not?
He's gonna be there anyway.
Yeah, we could like reinstitute the
Sticker
swap
patrol.
shop.
Yeah, don't.
Yeah, he could jockey the swap.
No.
Tony.
Yeah, that's stuff to talk about. Okay, so school board planning committee.
Yes.
Come on up, whoever wants to speak.
Perfect, I can do. Oh, there she is. There's three of us. For some reason, we thought tonight was at 7 o'clock.
You get comfortably seated there
Might
where
have
you
missed
are.
the time frame, sorry about that.
It's all right.
Okay.
You don't need a crowd.
So, oh, it's all good.
Carol, you wanna sit here? Okay.
Very good.
We just wanted to touch base with you. We had met with you briefly, I think it was Jason and Debbie,
Yes, when we first started this process.
right? And we almost completed it. We've completed our report, which you've likely seen. And we looked at the space here, which we're very interested in. So we didn't know if you had any questions of us or thoughts about any, we have to wait for the vote, but next steps or...
If the vote does pass, are you comfortable with where you stand right now?
Yes, very much so.
Okay, that's important.
Yes, very much so. We've definitely deliberated it more than enough to feel like we've got a good plan to work forward. And of course, there'll be a transition committee that'll get put together that'll help finalize the report that's in place.
Do we know anything about the space they want? I mean, I know about the space that they want over there, but we have no objection right now, do we?
No, I mean, we know a whole bunch of hurdles, and, we haven't heard from you that you want us to make it happen. So, we've gotten as far as showing them what we have and started to make our list of things to think about if it goes any further than that. But that's really as far as we've taken it. And I can tell you what the hurdles we know about are, but other than that, we really haven't carried it that much further. We walked you guys through it a few months ago. And
When are you looking for a decision on this?
Well, if the article passes, at that point, then we'll have to start actively finding a location for the new school, the new administrative unit, in which case that's when we thought it made sense to go get a formal bid for the renovation of the space. We also, of course, did some research and found a couple of alternative locations should here just either be too cost prohibitive, the committee doesn't like the plan, or something else goes awry. So we've kind of prepared for different options.
So this would involve some renovations, like to what extent?
You've got that back wall, the very back wall, like around the windows would need to be, cleaned up. I think that it's about 4 or 5 feet in, there's a wall there now. So that would likely come down, then the back wall will become the final edge, if you will.
Yeah.
There's some sense that there might be some heating type issues. I'm looking at Chris because I think that's some of the stuff on our punch list. And then the rec department needs a storage area, so that would need to be built into it. So, and it would have its own door to get in and out.
Okay.
How many people would be in that room?
So you'd have a superintendent that's going to be, well, I guess the thing that's going to happen is we'll have our vote July 1st, our new year rolls up. We have the transition committee put together. You'd have all your stakeholders in it. And then they begin to roll out operationally what things would look like. But as far as this room would go, we would envision that your administrative staff would be there. So your superintendent, on a part-time basis, if the plan we have is followed through. Probably an administrative person. We think our student services director would be in the school, so they'd be closer to the students and make that a focal point, and that benefits everybody. So you probably have maybe 3 people here?
Yeah, the bookkeeper, accountant would most likely need to be here. Chances are it'd just be those 2 that would be here the majority of the time, because the superintendent, part of this is they would be part-time. So we'd anticipate they'd work some of their time out of their home, some here, some at the school, but that's really most likely just 3.
Maybe 4, right? There's a maybe
finance
four.
manager in it before,
Just,
Yeah.
but they're not all full.
So you'd have some part-time people. We'd have a finance person that would be HR/accounting. You'd have just sort of that finance person that would handle accounting and so forth. So I think it wouldn't be that many people here.
So how does that, like, you probably don't know this yet, but I'd be curious about like what the cost of the renovation is relative to doing that for housing for people. You know what I mean?
we did budget out, I believe we
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
put out almost $40,000 is what we set aside for the, if I remember correctly.
Even a little bit more than
Yeah,
that.
possibly.
We've got an unassigned fund balance at the SAU. SAUs are different from our types of school districts and municipalities, and their unassigned fund balance just keeps rolling and growing.
Okay,
And it comes back to the communities if we ask for it by the same apportionment that we pay in. So Stratford will be taking theirs
yeah,
when they leave June 30th. And then we need to close the books for this year to see what else will roll in there. And, you know, so we think we're gonna have like 70, 80,000.
so that would fund,
Yes, we can
Okay,
easily
okay.
fund
Yeah.
that.
okay.
And software, you know, we were looking at what Stratford's been doing, and Stratford's been rolling right along. They've had many applicants for the positions that they were looking to fill. I think they had several for an assistant or a part-time superintendent. They've had just really good luck, even with the finance role, which
Yep.
is difficult to fill. They had 7 or 8 good applicants.
People want to move here.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a,
Yes, they like, you know, so we feel pretty good about it. They're also using BMSI, and it's an upgraded module, and so we have some info on that. It could be very workable. We're also interested, I think you've recently gone to ADP, and so those types of things, if there's some synergy for us.
Well, that was one thing that we talked about 1.2 was like sharing resources, right?
Yeah.
And is that still part of the plan, Chris?
Oh, we're certainly happy to talk about it. We haven't gone anywhere with that conversation. I mean, informally,
Yeah.
Right.
we just, you
we've
know,
knocked some stuff around, but,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. I think those back office and finance functions are the first place you look, because they're very similar.
Yeah.
You know, scale and savings, and, you know, I don't have any sense of that, but,
And what are some of the biggest hurdles that you see?
from a using the space point of view, we've got to replicate what rec has got for storage and programmatic use there. There isn't a whole lot of use of the space beyond storage, but we'd want to have a conversation with the, you know, the users of the space to see what we can, you know, do. Mostly, I think it's scouts, you know, but
Right.
there's a couple other smaller groups that have used it, but, you know, can they be accommodated elsewhere in this building or perhaps in the school? If the school made something available, I don't know what their needs are, but anyway,
we do have rooms that we can,
yeah, so anyway, take care of the users that are,
Yeah.
there isn't anybody really depending on it right now, but COVID's really messed things up, so.
Right.
Anyway, take care of the user groups, solve the rec storage question. There's a couple different flavors of storage that they, you know, they have kind of seasonal stuff and then more active stuff.
Yeah,
Structural questions, you know, is that back wall, when we did some work around the PD, we found some structural trouble on that same wall further back, and we looked at that a little bit. That's something somebody with some smarts is gonna have to take a look at. It's always cold in there. I don't have a sense of we don't condition that space. When the space was renovated, I think they put the ductwork in for air conditioning, but they didn't buy compressors, so that space isn't conditioned. It's ready for conditioning. And the electrical system in the building broadly is not ready for any expansion. It's chaos. So we have to get our head around, you know, we're limping along now, but
yeah.
if we start tinkering with things, we need to think about the electric, the heating.
You don't know what else is gonna come up.
Yeah, the heat system with the new boilers that we got will be able to handle that load, I'm sure. So that's not a worry. Those are the big things that we've identified. And you guys are all aware of all those unknowns, and That's as far as we've got with,
So any of those unknowns that end up being significant cost, is that stuff that you're accounting for in your whatever?
Yeah, that's what we set
I
aside for.
think that we have enough set aside, but, you know, you could be surprised by that. But I think
Yeah.
overall, our overall budget was a savings of almost $160,000.
Per year.
And, yeah, so,
Yeah.
you know, and then this unassigned fund balance coming back to us as well. And if we can be frugal this year and next year, then maybe that would be even better.
And what about networking? I mean, we don't have commercial grade network in the building, not wireless anyways.
Right.
So you're gonna want wired connections for your workers, so that's all gonna be run as well. In close proximity to the electrical outlets, so that'd be a job for the electrician, at least to pull the wire.
Are there other locations that you're looking at that are more ready than this?
For a lease, so
For-
and instead of upfront costs, we'd have annual costs.
But still in town?
And it-
Still in
yeah,
town,
if they're
yes,
still
absolutely.
available.
Yep, yep,
That's the goal, is to have it as close to here as possible.
yep.
There's not a lot of commercial space for lease in town.
Yep.
You know, I don't see a problem with it, but it's just as long as the school pays for all their stuff and it doesn't, we don't as a town incur any of the cost on fixing that room. To keep ours two separate, how we've always kept it separate. You know, this is the school venture, not the, I mean, again, we're all one big town, but still it's a, no offense, but your expense, not ours.
Of course. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and we haven't talked about what the cost to carry those functions in this building is, you know, if we,
Right.
you know, we haven't touched that, so.
Right, right.
But we
It's all the
actually,
same taxpayer, so I don't, you know, it's up to
Right, I
you.
know.
we actually set
Doesn't
aside
matter.
quite a bit in our budget for those carrying costs. Okay.
The only, I mean, kind of minor, but I would also want to make sure that the rec department isn't inconvenienced unduly, right? Like, I don't want them to end up with their stuff spread all over town, that they have to run
Right.
back and forth to get stuff.
Yep.
I don't think that'd be fair to Courtney and team.
You know, Chris, I had talked to you before about the old classrooms way in the back. I know the rec has some stuff back there.
They're pretty well out of there now.
Oh, they are?
Yeah, yeah, we spent the last year really working on
Moving
it.
them, okay.
Well, 2 years now, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean.
We're pretty
those-
well out of there.
Those spaces aren't heated or cooled, I know. It's not suitable for human occupation, but those, they could be spruced up enough to be viable storage spaces.
If you want to work on the roof, yes, but we've got leaks
Yeah.
and mold. And we got mold too, so,
I mean, you
Well,
would pretty
yeah,
much
there's
deem that as useless space, right? Yeah.
yeah.
We did walk back there. I think you can see that one time it would have been really beautiful, just big, spacious
Yeah.
classrooms and long windows looking out on.
We should just demolish it.
It's too bad.
That would dovetail nicely with this project.
We'll give them a nice new building to go on, but because it's gonna cost.
No, I mean, if you know, well, my dream would be to demolish it and put a real entrance at the back end of the building. Solve the electrical problems, put an entrance back there, probably a staff entrance, and move
Yeah.
all that traffic to the back. Take the dumpsters, take all the staff parking, stick it all out back.
All right.
School parking, stick it all out back. We could all use the back door to come in.
Yeah.
And open up the
Police
front.
want that much traffic going by. Again, we're thinking out.
Yeah, no, that's,
Not even destroying the building yet, so.
but that's, you know, if we had 2 years, would we, you know, I think we'd probably think about it
Yeah.
a little differently, but.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Anything else?
No, we just wanted to touch base and didn't know if there were any questions or anything, so.
No. So I guess the next conversation will be after the vote, see how it goes, and then we start talking for real.
Yeah, get that
Exactly.
transition committee together and make sure that all the stakeholders are represented there and
Yep.
start moving.
Good?
Yeah.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Cool.
See you Saturday the 17th.
Yes.
Yeah. You lucky guys get to go first.
Yes. Trying to head off some of the questions with some videos online, and hopefully that helps.
Yeah, those videos look good.
Yep, second one's almost ready to go.
Nice.
Great, good.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Take care.
So we're gonna move back up to, under general business, we will go talk about the, state legislation stuff. Chris, you wanna clue us in on that? We'll all pretty much-
Well, I've been shoveling you, scary messages from the NHMA about, legislation that, a lot of it is coming, the stuff that everything's been identified by NHMA. I'm not watching the legislation day to day.
Yep.
I'm just giving you what they give me.
Yep.
A lot of it is coming to the House floor this week. It's come out of committee. And not much of it is financial, it's all other stuff. NHMA has labeled this as a full-scale frontal assault on municipal government. There's some pretty scary stuff in there. Messing with the liability caps that protect us from all kinds of things. Messing with the liability protections for elected officials and town employees. That's the one that really jumped out and it made me particularly nervous.
That somebody could sue us individually?
Well, we could now be named individually. We may still enjoy some financial protection from the town, through the town's insurance carriers, but, even in ministerial functions, there's real basic things to be exposed to personal liability and lawsuit. Being named in a lawsuit is not at all appealing for volunteers.
Yeah.
Or
It
people
says
that do it for a living.
you wouldn't be financially liable. But how is that different than like when, whichever that lawsuit was that I was named on it?
You were quickly disposed of that headache.
Yeah.
That was done in error,
Yeah.
because that's just not part of your role as the chair of the select board, I think is why you were tagged with that, right?
Yeah.
That, as I understand it, that would be much more difficult.
So you would end up incurring lots of legal fees.
I think in practice, the town would step in and cover those, you're protected from a lot of that stuff now
Yep.
by way of our insurance. But that insurance is gonna get a heck of a lot more expensive and a lot more complicated.
Yep.
And the legal bills that come with it could also get
Yep.
much more complicated. So that's the one that really jumped out at me, and there's a couple others that, there's some nuisance stuff. What else it jumped out at you that,
Well, you can't raise, property
Oh, the tax cap?
taxes
Yeah.
greater than 2%. Yep. Greater than 2% per year and no greater than 1% per year on disabled or senior citizens.
yeah, that's just a power grab. You're really pulling the decision-making power away from the voters at town meeting
Yep.
and saying whether you want to tax yourself this way or not, you can't.
Yep.
And you can envision scenarios where, towns would want to raise a lot of money all at one time, or they'd want to, take on something like a mulligan, or something like the Mulligan Forest that creates a big tax jump. A big, but a noticeable one.
Yeah.
Stuff like that would become virtually impossible.
The one about the preemption of regulations of firearms and ammunition is kind of interesting as well. Because it's saying would prohibit municipalities from regulating the discharge of firearms even on municipal property. For example, a town would have no ability to prohibit target shooting or just random guns on a town-owned athletic field or town cemetery.
Who goes into a cemetery to start shooting things?
Well, and we have that ability now, right?
Yes.
So, to me, I think that also is a scary one.
I mean, any of these that takes away our ability to act on an issue, and then ergo takes that power away from the voters who, vote people in to make decisions that they want made. Ultimately, it's the voters who lose with every one of these items that they want to strip away from the towns. Like, you know, like Chris said, it's a power grab from the voters.
So Chris, what action
Yeah, what do we do?
can we do?
Well, NHMA is asking you to call your House reps.
Okay.
I mean, it's call now, because those votes are happening, I think, Wednesday, or maybe even tomorrow. You know, they're in session, this week, so, you know, the NHMA has provided a sheet you can hand to the reps to say, you know, this is how we'd prefer that you vote, but, I think if you're gonna get anybody's attention, they probably ought to get a phone call.
Yep.
Just to know that you're paying attention, that there really are consequences to this stuff. Some of it inexplicably is coming out of committee with runaway votes of, you know, 20 to nothing and stuff. I don't understand it. But some of it had resistance in committee, but others just seem to be coasting through, so. This is not the end of the world. They still have to get through the Senate and then come back through conference, but,
They're not asking constituents for any of their feedback on really anything. I mean, they're just doing their thing. And, you know, they all have their own agenda. And
Yep.
I don't know, I guess the only thing that happens is they get voted out. But it's a thankless job up there, right? I mean, when you get people that get voted in, they last about 2 meetings, and they are 2 committee assignments, they can't make it because they're working and they're done.
Or you're retired.
Yeah, you're retired. If you're retired, you make them.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to make phone calls.
Yeah, exactly.
Are they looking for people to testify? I mean,
no, the committee hearings are done. This is all going to the House floor.
it's
Yeah.
ready for the votes, yeah.
Yeah, those that get through the House will get sent to the Senate, and then there'll be presumably another committee opportunity there. I think generally the turnout at the committee level has been pretty strong from the municipalities.
Yeah.
I think, nothing's getting by unnoticed,
Yeah.
just not being listened to or agreed with.
You send us all the relevant phone numbers?
Sure.
And
Yeah.
Yeah.
we don't really have a need to do this often, but it doesn't get this crazy this often, so.
Yep.
So basically, we're talking about Burstein, Spillane, and Verville,
Yeah.
and Roy.
And Reagan, the senator,
Well, that's
Reagan.
Senate, right?
Yeah, you might save that one for when things get hot in the Senate.
Yeah.
We're not hearing the alarm bells about the Senate at this point. Do you know where to find this stuff at NHMA? If you don't have what I sent you,
I got it.
so you can
Yeah,
have something to
I can
refer to.
find
and-
it. It's in it's in the emails you sent.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
And their little fact sheet and everything.
yeah.
yeah.
All right. Any action, items for next meeting?
Before you get to the end of the agenda, do you want to assign
Yeah,
board members to tackle each of the warrant articles at the deliberative session?
yeah, let's do that. So Ben's not here.
So Ben gets them all.
Tradition has it, this is not the meeting to miss. So is the budget committee presenting the budget?
I have yet to have a conversation with Tim, but I would assume that tradition will continue.
Well, did I do the stormwater one last year? I think I did.
Okay?
I can do that again if we got a, updated narrative or.
Yeah, what I typically hand you, you can obviously, do whatever use whatever you want, but what I typically hand you that sets up your introduction of these things is now written in the voter guide. That's the
Yeah,
exact
right,
same,
yeah, exactly.
that's where that comes from, really, is that same level of detail. So,
Yeah.
I can rejig jigger that and give it to you for your articles.
It's there,
And then you can tell me what more you need
yeah.
if you, you know, think your way through it, or anticipate questions, but,
I can second that one.
the fire chief's ready to discuss all three of the ones that relate to the department, so
So.
you don't need to be on.
6, 7, 8,
Correct.
so he's putting them forward? Or we're putting it forward?
Why don't you put them forward to show that you supported them, and then he can do the explanation piece?
Okay.
Unless you want to do, that's a suggestion, you do what you want to do.
I'll second all three of those. Somebody wants to,
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind putting them forward.
Is that Articles 2 through 5?
no, 6, 7, and 8.
6, 7, 8.
All right, so you want me to put all three of those forward?
Sure. Yeah, if you're up for it.
And then Tony, you'll second them all?
Yep.
You guys can assign me whichever you want me to second or you want me to read. I don't care.
I would,
Pick which one,
I don't even have them in front of me.
well, I would say,
or in your packet.
I would say Ben could probably do 10 and 11, the highway vehicle reserve fund and dump truck.
He voted
got
against
it.
those.
Yeah, yeah.
What?
He voted against those on the recommendation
Well,
vote.
what better reason to give it to him?
I'll do Articles 23 and 24.
You're a jerk.
Those are at the tavern, right?
Right. John, you want to do the highway ones?
Sure.
8 and 9? John put it forward.
That's
No, 8 is fire
Nine-
station,
I'm sorry.
so.
9, 10, 11
9, 10, 11.
is highway.
And Tyler, you want to second
That's
those?
what the purchasing our trucks are.
Yep.
Yep,
That's 9, 10, and 11, right?
yep,
I'll give you all this when,
Yeah.
you'll walk into the meeting with this in front of you.
so, was Ben supportive of the community kitchen center?
Yes.
Okay, why don't we give him that one? Revaluation. Not gonna have any objections to that, right?
Nope.
Who's getting that one, Ben?
Ben,
Who's gonna second?
John,
Sure.
who's gonna do the front end loader purchase?
That's the highway one. Am I doing that?
Yeah, we'll give that to John. We'll give him the full package there.
Who?
John,
John do that?
Highway equipment.
All the highway equipment's John.
okay, let's give Tyler the second on that as well.
Okay.
I can do the E911,
Okay? Let's
the
give,
public safety thing, I'm good with that stuff.
let's give Ben second on that.
Yeah, he'd be,
That's gonna bring up some discussion.
Let's give Tyler 17, since that's tricentennial.
and I can second that one.
And then I'll take 18, and John can second it.
Sounds good.
That's the invasive.
And how many have I got? I've only got 2, so I can take the cemetery one.
Okay. And then let's have Ben second that.
Presto.
There you go.
Who was taking 16?
Tony?
Me.
Tony, okay.
Tony, yeah.
And then Ben's in a second?
Hey, Tony?
Ben will second, yeah.
Hey, Tony, launch that thing we were talking
It's
about.
already up, I'm just waiting for them to show up in the waiting room.
There you go. That was easy.
That was easy. I've got one of those, you know. The staples, the button, you hit it and it says, that was easy. I should start bringing it to our meetings.
We wouldn't use it a lot.
It's true. They should have one that says.
Seeing
was
that, go back onto quickly for review of action items for next meeting. Do we want to just keep on the things for future, the updated recycling fees
Yep.
as a future thing to discuss?
Marston name.
Keep the Marston name.
Chris, Courtney's, they're gonna be doing work renovating, cleaning the town beach. Do we know when she's planning on that?
Some of it has already started.
Really?
Highway guys have been doing some tinkering over there.
Yeah, I know they were gonna like dig out the pucker brush and the root balls.
Yeah, I haven't been there, but I know that, they were starting on it. But I don't know any more than that, but I can find out.
About sanding the beach too?
Spreading sand.
I think the last I talked with her, she was thinking that we might be able to do enough weed removal and shuffling of what's there, that we might not need to add any, but, that's,
Yeah.
they're kind of mid-project on that.
Okay.
That was my last, touch on it, but I'll get an update, from her on that. Courtney Beach.
And since we're there and that's the end of that, we will be moving into non-public, and after we finish our non-public, we'll be back in public just to close out tonight's meeting for anybody watching at home. So we'll be going into non-public per RSA 91-A-3, allotment D,
We,
right?
Yes.
Was it D?
Yeah, but I'll make a motion that we
Yeah.
go into non-public per RSA 91-A:3 to D.
Second.
Motion and a second. Roll call vote, right?
I,
Yep.
Donna Danus.
Hi, Tony.
Oh, sorry.
Hi, Tony Dumas.
Hi, Tyler Eaton.
Hi, John Warren.
So used to doing it alphabetically.
Yeah.
I thought we were just gonna go down
I
the
know,
room, but
I
okay.
know.